In this lecture, we would like to discuss another great French political philosopher, and that is Jean Bodin, and his great contribution to modern political thinking, and that is the theory of sovereignty. So, according to him, it is generally agreed that the doctrine of sovereignty is the most important part of his political philosophy. The presence of sovereign power is taken by him as a mark which distinguishes the state from all the other groupings or associations. According to him, citizens are subject to the sovereign, and it is his subjection which makes them citizens. The citizens may or may not have common language, religion, or customs. Even we found Aristotle in his Politics has also suggested the doctrine of sovereignty, but Buddha's concept of sovereignty cannot be identified with that of Aristotle. As according to Aristotle, the sovereign's powers will in the state had the force of law, but Buddha holds that sovereignty is limited by law, which has its source in reason, and as he himself defines about sovereignty, as Buddha expressed that sovereignty as the supreme power, unrestricted by law. In spite of that, we found certain criteria and characteristics in Buddha's definition of sovereignty. And before that, we want to discuss the very remarks of Professor George Severin made in his work Modern Political Theory or the History of Modern Political Theory, where Professor Severin expressed that the primary attribute of sovereignty is the power to give laws to citizens collectively and severally without the consent of a superior, an equal, or an inferior. So the characteristics of sovereignty that we found from Buddha's theory or concept of sovereignty as he defined the first characteristic that we found, it is within the territorial limits the power of the sovereign over all the citizens and associations is absolute. And also the power of the sovereign is perpetual and is not limited by time. And also it is undelegated, or if delegated, without limit or condition. Further, it is not alienable. So also the sovereign is the only source of law by which the community is governed and its affairs regulated. Further, we found the sovereign is not bound by law. He is supreme and perpetual legal omnipotence. So, Professor Frederick Pollock defined Buddha's sovereignty as in every independent community governed by law. There must be some authority, whether residing in one person or several, whereby the laws are established and from which they proceed, and this power, being the source of law, itself be above the law, as it was expressed by Professor Frederick Bullock. And finally, we found, though legally supreme, however, the sovereign is limited in the law of God and nature, as himself, Bodin, while defining his concept of sovereignty, expressed that all princes are bound by divine law, by the law of nature, and by that common law of nations which has its source in this. And as the head of the state, the sovereign has also certain powers which were explained by Buddha in his theory of sovereignty. And these are: the sovereign has the power to declare war and make peace. So also the sovereign has the power to commission magistrates. So also the sovereign has the power to coin currency. And also the sovereign has the power to grant pardons and to levy taxes. So also the sovereign can impose punishment. So Professor Judge Sabine says that in general sovereignty meant for Buddha a perpetual humanity, unlimited, unconditional right to make, interpret, and execute good laws. In spite of all this, Buddha himself provided certain limitations, and those limitations, as we found from the theory of sovereignty as presented by Buddha, are that all princes are bound by divine law, and the sovereign power is also limited by the law of nature. The sovereign should not act against the constitutional law of the time. The sovereign is also bound by moral duties to observe treaties with other sovereigns. The sovereign is also morally bound to observe the contact with his own subjects. The sovereign must not interfere with the private property of individuals without their consent. And finally, the sovereign must exercise his authority with reason, and these limitations are itself provided by Jean Baudin in his theory of sovereignty. So now we found certain defects in his theory for which he was criticized. Buddha is the first modern thinker to propound the concept of sovereignty of a state. He has thoroughly analyzed his theory, but his analysis of supreme power contains serious confusions. In order to have a complete picture of Buddha's nature of sovereignty, these conclusions must be noted. As Professor Sabine says that the preceding account of Buddha's theory of sovereign authority takes accounts only of the parts of his arguments which are clear and out of difficulties. It is entirely, however, the argument is by no means so simple, but contains serious confusions. In general, to Buddha, sovereignty means a perpetual, humanity unlimited, and unconditional right to make, interpret, and execute law. The existence of such a right is believed to be necessary to any well ordered state, but the exercise of sovereign power which he regulates as justifiable is by no means so unlimited as his definition implies, and the result is a series of restrictions that introduce a great amount of confusion into the finished theory. Buddha holds that the sovereign is bound by the law of God or law of nature, though he admits that the law is a act of the will of the sovereign. He, however, never supposed that the sovereign could never right may flag to him the law of the nature stands above human law, though the sovereign cannot be held legally liable for violating the natural law. However, this law imposes some real disabilities on him. So also, another confusion that we found in Buddha's theory, which arose from his fidelity to constitutional law of France. All his natural inclinations are on the side of constitutional government and respect for the ancient usages and practices of the time. To Bodin, the king of France, cannot modify the rule of succession. He admits the existence of a particular clans of laws which are necessarily connected with the exercise of sovereignty itself, and which even the sovereign cannot change. Yet he was convinced that the king of France was sovereign in the full sense of the word. In fact, was the example par excellence of a sovereign. So Professor Savain expressed that this confusion here is manifest. The sovereign is at once the source of law and the subject of certain conditional laws which he has made and cannot change. So also, another confusion we found in Buddha's theory of sovereignty, which is more immediately serious than the already discussed, those above confusions. And this confusion is with regard to his conviction about the inviolability of private property. This right is guaranteed by the law of nature, but it constituted for Buddha more than a mere limitation on the power of the sovereign. To Buddha, property is so sacred that the sovereign even cannot touch it without the consent of the owner. Accordingly, he asserted that the taxation requires the assent of the estates, but there is nothing whatever about taxation to justify Buddha in thus setting it apart from other legislation, and he had denied in the most explicit that the states can act in any but one advisory capacity in the making of law. Indeed, the very existence of the states depended upon the delegation by the sovereign of a qualified authority to a subordinate corporation. So, we found like Machiavelli Buddha also favors monarchy as the best form, as also the most desirable form of command. He regarded England, France, and Spain as monarchies in the strictest sense of the term, and even he divided monarch into three types: despotism, royal monarchy, tyranny, and of all these, Buddha regards the royal monarchy not only as the ideal type of monarchic state but also as the best form of state in general. So, he vested all the power in his theory of sovereignty to these royal monarchies, of which he himself regarded such royal monarchies as he found from his experience in his own time were prevailing in England, France, and Spain. So, hereby we completed our lecture on Buddha's theory of sovereignty.